Good evening and welcome. Tonight's story takes you to a sail loft above a quiet harbor. A long room under the rafters where great sails are folded and mended, and where the tide moves softly against the wall below. There is nothing here you need to do. You may stay awake for all of it, or you may drift off after the very first words. Either way, the story will carry on around you, calm and unhurried, the way the water keeps lapping, whether anyone is listening or not. If sleep comes early, let it come. Settle in now. Let the bed take your weight. Let your shoulders settle down away from your ears. Let your hands grow heavy where they lie. There is no rush tonight. There is nowhere else to be. The loft has waited a long time, and it is glad of the quiet, and it has room enough for you. Before the story begins, let yourself settle. There is nothing you need to do with your body except let it be heavy. The bed is holding you. You do not need to help. Take a slow breath in through your nose, gentle and unhurried. Hold it for a moment, soft at the top, and let it go, slowly, all the way out, a little longer than the breath that came in. Again, breathe in, easy and low, the way you breathe when no one is watching, and out, long and slow, letting your shoulders sink as the breath leaves. One more. In, gently, and out, slowly. And as the breath goes, let your jaw soften, let your hands uncurl, let the weight of the day drain down through the mattress and away. Now, let your breathing find its own pace. You do not need to guide it anymore. It knows what to do. It has always known. Every breath from here is one step further into rest. You are lying warm and still, and the room around you is a sail loft above a harbor at night. It is a long room, set high under the roof of an old stone building at the water's edge. The ceiling slopes gently away on either side, following the line of the rafters, and the rafters are dark with age and smoothed by years of hands and rope. The air up here is mild and a little salty, and it holds the smell of tar and of beeswax and of clean, dry canvas. You have come to the top of the building to reach this room, up a stair of worn wooden treads that turned once upon itself in the dark. Each step hollowed a little in the middle, where 100 years of feet have pressed, and at the top a low door that opened onto all of this quiet. The climb is behind you now. There is nothing above this room but the roof and the slow night sky, and nothing asked of you here at all. Below the windows, the harbor lies quiet. The tide is in, or nearly in, and the water moves against the harbor wall in a soft and steady way. You can hear it without listening for it. A small wash, a pause, another small wash. The sound rises up through the open window and settles over the room like a thin blanket laid down with care. It does not come and go. It only goes on, the way your own slow breath goes on, needing no thought from you, asking nothing in return. The windows along the seaward wall are low and wide, and the night beyond them is a deep and quiet blue. There is no moon to speak of, only a softness in the sky where the moon might be, somewhere behind a thin layer of cloud. A little light comes in through the glass and lies in long pale shapes across the floorboards. The boards are worn smooth and pale themselves, and they are warm under the touch where the day's warmth has lingered. The glass in the windows is old and gently uneven, and the light that passes through it bends a little, so that the pale shapes on the floor have soft and wandering edges, the way a thing seen through clear water has soft and wandering edges. Nothing about it is exact. Everything about it is kind. Under the lowest of the seaward windows there is a window seat, a broad sill of dark wood made wide enough to sit upon, with a flat cushion laid along it, worn and faded to no particular color at all. It is the color cloth becomes when the salt air and the sun have had it for a long time, the soft gray of driftwood, the soft gray of a calm sky just before the light goes. The cushion holds the shape of all the time someone has sat there to look out at the water, and it asks for nothing now, only rests in its place, only keeps the night warmth of the room within its weave. Down in the harbor the boats are sleeping. You cannot see them well from where you lie, but you know they are there, riding gently at their moorings. Now and then a rope creaks against a cleat, a small wooden sound, and then it is quiet again. The gulls have gone quiet too. By day they wheel and call above the water, but the night has folded them away somewhere along the rooftops, and they make no sound at all. The whole town has folded itself away in the same manner, the shutters drawn, the doors closed, the lanes between the houses empty and cool. Only the loft is awake, in its own slow and drowsy way, and only the water which never truly sleeps, and only you, sinking softly towards sleep with every breath you take. There is a second window on the landward side of the loft, smaller and set higher, and through it you could see, if you turned your head, the gathered houses of the harbor town climbing the hill away from the water. A window here and there still holds a low, warm light, an amber square in the dark mass of roofs and chimneys, where someone sits up late by a fire, or moves slowly through a kitchen before bed. The lights are far off and they do not flicker. They only burn, steady and small and golden, and they will go out one by one as the night deepens, and no one will mark the moment they go. You do not need to watch them. You only need to know they are there, those quiet warm lights, all of them tending toward sleep the same as you. The loft is full of canvas. This is its purpose and its whole long life. Bolts of new sailcloth stand against one wall, rolled tight and tied, each one a heavy cylinder of pale cream cloth. They lean together like patient figures, and the lamplight, what little there is, finds the soft ridges in their folds. The cloth is stiff and new and smells faintly of the oils worked into it. It will soften with the sea in time, for now it waits. There are heavier weights and lighter weights among them, the stout cloth for the big working sails and the finer cloth for the small ones, and they stand in a row from thickest to thinnest, leaning each against its neighbor, a whole quiet company of cloth that has not yet met the wind. And then there are the great folded sails. These are the older ones, the working sails, brought in for mending and care. They lie folded along the long tables and stacked in soft heaps in the corners. A folded sail is a wonderful thing to look at. The canvas is doubled and doubled again, pressed down into broad flat layers, and the edges are not stiff but rounded and soft, worn by wind and salt and handling. Where the light touches them, they are the color of old cream, of weathered bone, of sand left dry by the morning tide. Some of them carry the faint pale lines of old seams resewn, and the soft brown ghosts of weather long since dried away. And these marks are not flaws but only the record of long use, the way the lines on a hand are only the record of a life. Against the far wall, where the lamp barely reaches, the finished sails are stacked, the ones already mended and folded and bound, set up out of the way to wait for the boats that own them. They are heaped one upon another, soft pale shapes in the soft dark, each one tied round with a length of light line so that it keeps its shape, and the stack rises in gentle steps like a low cliff of cloth, like the long pale dunes above a beach. You could not say where one folded sail ends and the next begins. They have settled together into a single quiet mass, breathing the same warm air, keeping the same long stillness, and the dark gathers around them soft as a drawn curtain, There is no need to count them. There is no need to know whose they are. They are only there, folded and bound and resting, a whole sleeping company of sails in the corner of the room. Nearer the bench, a shallow basket holds the offcuts, the small trimmed pieces of canvas left over from the cutting, soft scraps of pale cloth heaped loose and easy. They are kept for patches and for small repairs, and they lie there mild and shapeless, the gentlest things in the room, with no edge stiff enough to catch on anything. You could sink a hand into them as into dry sand warmed by the sun, and they would give way softly and close again, and ask for nothing. Beside the basket, a worn tally book lies open on the bench, its pages soft and furred at the corners, and on it the day's work has been set down in a slow, plain hand. This sail and that one, this length and that, the patient record of patient work. The ink has long since dried. The page does not stir. The book lies open to the low light and keeps its quiet account, and there is nothing in it you need to read. You let your eyes rest on the nearest folded sail. It is enormous, and it is utterly still. You can follow the lines of its folds, one laid over the next, each one a long, gentle curve. There is something deeply restful in a thing so large that has been gathered up and made small and quiet. All that cloth which has held the wind and crossed open water is here at peace, folded and waiting, asking nothing of anyone. It has been out in weather you could scarcely imagine, taut and straining and full of the whole force of the sea, and now it lies softer than a made bed, lower than a sleeping animal, breathing nothing, wanting nothing, simply here in the warm dark with you. The smell of the room moves through you slowly. Tar first dark and warm from the ropes and the seams, then salt, the clean mineral smell of the sea that lives in everything here. And under those, the soft sweetness of beeswax rubbed into thread and into the wood of the long bench. These three smells together are the smell of the loft, and they are old friends to one another. There is, too, if you breathe a little deeper, the resinous smell of pine pitch and of oakum, the teased-out fiber packed into seams, a smell like a forest warmed by the sun, and it sits beneath the others quiet and low, the way a single deep note sits beneath a slow piece of music. You breathe that air in slowly, and it is good air to breathe. It is not the close air of a shut room. It has come up off the water, across the harbor, in through the open window, and it has gathered the warmth of the loft on its way to you. So it is cool and clean at the edges, and warm and kind at the heart. And it moves into you and out of you without any effort at all. Each breath is a little slower than the last. There is room for it to be slow. There is nothing pressing on the next moment, and nothing pressing on the one after that. In the corner nearest the landward wall, there stands a small iron stove, squat and round and black, with a short pipe that rises and bends and passes out through the wall. The stove has been banked low for the night, and behind its little door, a few coals glow the deep red of embers settling toward ash. They give off no flame, only a low and even warmth and the faintest breathing glow, brightening a touch and dimming a touch as the air moves over them, the way a sleeper's chest rises and falls. On the flat top of the stove, a small kettle sits, gone quiet now, holding its water warm, and now and then it makes the smallest tick of cooling metal, a tiny domestic sound, and then it is still. The warmth of the stove fills the room so evenly that you cannot say where it begins. It is simply the temperature of comfort, laid over everything, holding the cold of the water out beyond the glass where it belongs. You let your gaze travel along the underside of the roof. The rafters run the length of the loft, evenly spaced, and between them the boards of the ceiling are pale and close-fitting. Here and there an old wooden peg has been driven into a beam, and from one of them hangs a coil of cord, from another a worn canvas bag, from another nothing at all. The pegs have held 100 things over the years, and they hold these now, patiently, and they will hold whatever the morning brings. There is a kind of quiet in a thing that simply waits to be useful, and the whole loft is full of that quiet. Higher up, where the two slopes of the roof come together, a stout beam runs the length of the ridge, and short timbers brace it on either side, and the whole frame of the roof stands above you like the upturned hull of some great old boat. It has been pegged and jointed by hands long gone, fitted together without nails, each piece notched into the next and held there by its own good weight. And it has not shifted in all the years since. You can feel looking up at it how it carries the weather for you, the rain and the wind and the long press of time, and how it asks nothing of you in return but that you lie here beneath it and be kept dry and warm and still. Set into the slope of the roof there is one small skylight, a single pane of old glass let into the timbers, and through it you can see a narrow piece of the night sky. The cloud has thinned just there, and one star shows through, faint and steady, a small clear point of light very far away. It does not twinkle so much as simply hold its place, patient as everything else here, and the slow drift of the cloud will cover it again before long. You watch it without watching it. There is nothing to wish upon it, and nothing to ask of it. It is only a small light in a high window, keeping you company while your eyes grow heavy. Along one rafter a thin line of light from the window lies like a pale thread laid down by a careful hand. It does not move. It only rests there, soft and unbroken, while the room breathes its slow night breath around it. You follow that line of light from one end to the other and back again, and your eyes grow heavier as you go, the way they do when there is nothing in the world that needs your watching. And there is another light upon the ceiling, softer still, and slowly moving. It is the water. The faint glow of the night sky catches the small ripples in the harbor below, and the moving water throws its moving light up through the open window and onto the pale boards overhead, so that a net of soft ripples drifts and wavers there, very slow, very dim, folding into itself and opening again. It is the most gentle motion imaginable, the breathing light of the sea laid out across the ceiling above you, and to watch it is to feel your own thoughts ripple and loosen and drift in the same unhurried way. The water moves, the light moves. Nothing hurries. Your eyes follow the slow ripples until following is more than they wish to do, and then they simply rest, and the light goes on moving above you whether you watch it or not. The roof above you keeps the weather out and the warmth in, and it has done so for longer than anyone can easily remember. You can feel, without thinking of it, how solid the building is beneath the loft, how the thick stone walls go down and down to meet the harbor. The loft sits at the very top of all that stone, lifted up toward the night sky, and yet it is the safest and softest place imaginable. Below you the stone, beside you the canvas, above you the slow rafters and the pale boards of the ceiling. You are wrapped on every side by quiet, well-made things, and not one of them asks anything of you at all. The cold of the night never reaches in here. It stays out on the water where it belongs, drifting over the dark harbor, and the loft keeps its mild and even warmth like a held breath. You notice how comfortable your hands are, how comfortable your face is, how the air against your skin is exactly the temperature of ease. There is no part of you that needs to move. There is no small adjustment left to make. You are settled, and the room is settled, and the night is settled all around. Down the center of the room runs the sailmaker's bench. It is a long, low bench of dark wood, worn pale along its edge where countless arms have rested. On it, the tools of the trade are laid out in their quiet order. There is no one here now, but the tools remain where they were left, ready for the morning, and there is comfort in their stillness. The bench is so long that one end of it falls away into the soft dark beyond the lamp, and you cannot see where it finishes, and you do not need to. It is enough to know it goes on, low and steady and dark, a worn path of wood running quietly through the middle of the night. There are the palms, the leather pads that fit across the hand, each one shaped by the hand that wore it. The leather has gone soft and dark with use, and a small metal disc sits in the heel of each palm, the part that drives the needle through the heavy cloth. The palms rest on the bench like small sleeping creatures, curved and still. Each palm has taken on the shape of long use. The leather remembers the hand that wore it, the curve of the thumb, the press of the knuckles, the place where the work was hardest. You can see in the worn dark grain how many hours it has held, how many seams it has helped to close. And now it lies open and easy on the bench, holding nothing, asking nothing, simply resting in the low light. There is a deep ease in a working thing at the end of its day, set down at last, its task complete, and the long night ahead of it. There is the wax thread, wound on its spool, dark and faintly shining. The wax has made it smooth and strong, and it carries that honey smell of the beeswax block that sits beside it. The block is worn into soft grooves where the thread has been drawn across it again and again. You can almost feel in your own hand the way the thread would pull through the wax, slow and even and sure. The grooves in the wax are deep and rounded and golden, and they catch the lamplight and hold it, and the block sits in its little wooden dish like something precious, which in its quiet way it is. And there are the needles, the great sailmaker's needles, lying in a row in a strip of folded cloth. They are larger than ordinary needles, made for cloth that is thick and stubborn, and their points are clean and their eyes are wide. They catch the small light and hold a thin line of brightness along each one. They are not for tonight. Tonight they only rest, lined up in quiet, and you let your gaze move over them and on. Beside the strip of cloth there is a small earthen jar, and in it the spare needles are kept buried in soft tallow to hold the rust away, only their wide eyes showing at the surface, and they sleep there in the fat the way seeds sleep in the dark earth, kept and patient and out of harm. Beside the bench stands a low wooden stool, and a coil of light rope hangs from a peg in the wall. There is a wooden mallet, smooth as a river stone, and a fid, a long tapered cone of polished wood used for opening the strands of a rope. Everything here has been made simple and strong, made to last, made to be held. There is nothing fragile in this room, nothing that could break with a careless hand. It is a room built for steady, patient work, and even empty it holds that steadiness. Near the end of the bench there is a wooden hook fixed at the edge, the seam hook, where the long edge of a sail is caught and held taut while it is sewn, and there is a clamp of smooth worn wood that grips the cloth gently and lets it go. And there is a piece of soft chalk in a little tray, and a length of light line beside it powdered pale, the chalk line, which is drawn tight and lifted, and let fall against the cloth to leave one clean straight mark, a single pale line for the seam to follow. The chalk has worn down to a small smooth nub, rounded by the fingers that have held it, and the dust of it lies fine and pale in the tray, soft as the dust of moth wings, and you can almost smell its dry clean mineral smell among the tar and the salt and the wax. On the wall above the bench, hung from their own row of pegs, are the patterns and the molds, the shapes by which the sails are cut. They are great curving pieces of stiffened paper and thin board, each one the outline of a sail or a part of a sail, and they hang one over another in soft overlapping layers, pale and gently curling at the edges. They are the memory of every sail the Loft has ever made, kept here against the day another like it is wanted. They stir not at all in the still air. They hang and overlap and rest, a quiet drift of pale shapes against the dark wall, and your eye moves over their long curves the way it might follow the slow lines of distant hills. There is a shelf too, low along the landward wall, and on it sit the wooden blocks, the pulleys, each a smooth shell of hard wood with a sheave inside worn glossy by the running of rope. They are arranged by size, the small ones and the larger ones rounded and dark and pleasant to look at, and a length of pale rope is threaded through one of them and hangs in a loose and easy loop. Beside the blocks there is a box of brass rings and grommets, the little eyelets that ring the edge of a sail, and they lie heaped and gleaming dully in their box, small circles of soft gold cool to the touch, each one a tiny ring of order waiting for its place in the cloth. You let your eyes rest on the small dull shine of them, heaped and quiet in the dark, and your eyes grow heavier for the looking. On the shelf beside the blocks there is a flat tin of grease for the sheaves, and a stub of yellow wax candle never lit, and a small worn brush, and a folded square of soft leather for the polishing of the brass. Each thing has its own place, and has had it for years, and each has worn a faint pale ring into the wood of the shelf where it always stands, so that even where they carried off the shelf would remember them, would hold the shape of them in its grain. There is a deep and easy order in that, a place for each small thing, and each small thing in its place, and nothing out of order, and nothing wanted that is not here. Your eyes move slowly along the shelf, from the tin to the candle to the brush to the folded leather, and back again, the way you might walk slowly along a low shelf of familiar books, touching nothing, only knowing they are there. The coil of rope on its peg is a thing worth resting your eyes upon. It hangs in even loops, each one the same as the last, looped and looped and looped again until it makes a soft round shape against the wall. The rope is pale and a little furred where it has worn, and it smells faintly of tar like everything else. You could let your gaze follow the loops around, around, the way you might follow a path that has no end and no beginning, and there is something in that slow circling that loosens the last small tightness behind your eyes. In the far corner, leaning into the angle of the wall, there is an old broom of bound twigs and worn handle, set there at the end of the day's sweeping. The floor before it is clean and pale and bare. Beside the broom, a few coils of finer twine sit in a shallow basket, and a measuring line lies looped over a peg, a long thin cord with small knots tied along it at even spaces, each knot a measure, so that the length of a sail may be told by feeling the knots run slow through the hand, one and another, and another. You picture that. The slow knots passing through a quiet hand in the daylight, and the picturing is itself a kind of counting, soft and even, that carries your thoughts a little further down towards sleep. You picture, without any effort, the way the work would go by day. A length of canvas drawn across the long table, a seam to be doubled and sewn, the chalk line lifted and let fall to leave its one pale mark, the palm fitted to the hand, the needle pushed through, the wax thread drawn the full length of its travel, slow and unhurried, and then the next stitch, and the next hour upon hour of small even movements. Each one no trouble at all, each one part of a thing that grows whole beneath the hands. But that is the work of the day, and the day is far away, folded up and put aside like everything else. Tonight there is only the rest before the work, and you lie in the middle of it. The floorboards stretch away in long lines toward the windows. Here and there a sail lies spread across them, half folded, left in the middle of its careful gathering. The cloth pools softly on the wood, and the worn folds lie in long shadows. You could rest your hand flat against that canvas and feel the weave of it, the small regular ridges cool at first and then warm where your palm has lain. The weave runs one way and then crosses itself the other way, over and under, a whole field of small even crossings, and if you let your fingertips trace it, they would find no end to its quiet regularity. No place where the pattern stumbles, only the same calm weave going on and on beneath your hand. If you let your eyes follow the spread of that half-folded sail, you can trace how it was being gathered. One broad fold laid over, smoothed flat. Another fold brought up to meet it, smoothed flat in turn. The cloth grows thicker and quieter with each fold, taller and softer, until what was a great wide thing becomes a low and tidy heap that a person could rest an arm upon. There is no part of this that is hurried. It is the slowest kind of tidying, the kind that happens fold by fold, and watching it in your mind, your own thoughts begin to fold themselves down in the same slow way. And when a sail is fully gathered, it is bound round with a soft length of line and set aside, and another is brought to the table, and the folding begins again. Fold laid over fold, smoothed flat. The cloth gathered down small and quiet. The whole long day is made of this, of great wide things made small and still and tidy, and the loft fills slowly with these soft bound shapes, these sleeping sails, until the work is done and the lamp is turned down low and the room is left to the night and to the sound of the water. You are in that room now at that hour, with all the folding finished and all the cloth at rest. Out beyond the windows, the tide keeps its slow time. Wash, pause, wash. The water touches the harbor wall and draws back, touches and draws back, and the sound of it is the oldest sound in the world. It does not change and it does not rush. It was doing this before the loft was built, and it will do it long after. There is a great kindness in a sound that asks nothing and only goes on. The tide is at its full now, or near to it, and the water lies high and smooth against the stone, and the old dark line of weed on the wall is covered over and hidden beneath the calm surface. There is a slack and resting quality to the water at the top of the tide, a held and even fullness, as though the sea itself had drawn one long, slow breath and now simply held it for a while before letting it go. The boats ride high on that fullness. The reflected light lies still upon it, and the small wash against the wall is softer than ever, barely more than a touch. The gentlest meeting of water and stone. A small breath of air comes in through the open window. It is cool and clean, and it carries the smell of the sea up into the warm room. It stirs nothing much. Perhaps it lifts the loose end of a length of cloth a finger's width and lets it fall again. Perhaps it brushes across your face like the lightest possible touch. And then it is still, and the warmth of the room closes softly around you once more. Somewhere below, a single wooden boat shifts at its mooring, and the rope that holds it draws tight and slack, with a sound so soft it is almost no sound at all. It is the gentlest creak in the world, the sound of a heavy thing being rocked and rocked and rocked. The water does the rocking. The water is in no rush, and it has all the patience there is, and it cradles the sleeping boats below just as the loft cradles you above. Everything here is being held by something larger and kinder, and is content to be held. You let your breath fall in with the tide. There is no need to make it so. It simply happens, the way two slow things will find each other's rhythm if you leave them alone. You breathe in as the water gathers, and you breathe out as it slips back down the stone. In and out, gathering and slipping back, with all the time in the world between. The lamp, if there is a lamp, has been turned down low. Its light is the color of honey, and it does not reach the corners. The corners are full of soft folded shadow, of canvas heaped and sleeping. The light pools only here, around the long bench, around the place where you lie, and it is a small warm island in the wide dark room. Beside the door a lantern hangs unlit on its hook, its glass dark and patient, keeping its small store of flame for some morning that has not yet come. It does not glow. It only waits, the way everything in this room waits, easy and unhurried, in no need of anything at all. Far out across the water, perhaps, a single light burns low on a moored boat, a steady yellow point that the small waves carry up and down, never going anywhere. You watch it without watching it. It rises a little, It sinks a little, it holds its place above the dark water, patient as the loft, patient as the tide, and then a fold of cloud or a turn of your own heavy eyes takes it gently away, and there is only the soft blue dark and the sound of the sea. You can feel the warmth of the boards beneath you and the mildness of the air above you. You are held between them, neither too warm nor too cool, exactly comfortable. Your weight has gone down into the floor, down through the old timbers, down into the stone of the building, down toward the patient water. You are part of the loft now. You are one of its quiet things. A folded sail, a coil of rope, a spool of waxed thread, a row of needles resting in their cloth, a small brass ring, a worn smooth palm. And you, here resting too, breathing slow, asking nothing, given nothing to do. The tide laps softly against the wall below, soft, and then softer. The sound comes up through the open window and lies across the room. It comes up and lies down, comes up and lies down, the way a hand smooths a sheet flat, over and over gently, until there is no crease left anywhere. The canvas is folded and still. The smell of tar and salt and beeswax moves through the warm air. The needles rest. The ropes rest. The chalk rests in its little tray. The great sails rest. All that gathered cloth lying quiet in the dark. The stove glows low and warm in its corner. The light of the water drifts slow across the ceiling. The one star waits in its small high window. And you rest too. There is nothing to do here. There is nothing to remember. There is no rush, and there is nowhere else to be. The water touches the wall. It draws back. It touches the wall again. Soft, slow, sure. The loft holds you, warm and still. The folded sails keep their long sleep around you. The thread waits on its spool. The light pools low and honey-colored and asks nothing of the dark. Breathe in as the water gathers. Breathe out as it slips away. In and out, gathering and slipping away. The tide laps softly below the windows. The canvas lies folded and warm. The room is calm. The water is slow. The light drifts soft across the ceiling. Soft, and softer still. The water touches the wall. The sails lie folded. The light moves slow above you. The room is quiet and warm. You are resting now. You are resting. The tide, the canvas, the warm, low light, the folded sail, the coil of rope, the small brass ring. In and out, in and out. The water touches the wall. The sails lie folded. The room is warm, soft, and slow, and sure. Soft, and softer still.